Good afternoon, my friends. Let's elaborate on the last video like we've been doing lately. This one right here, you may not know that it's one of the world's baffling mysteries. Hopefully you do from the last video. That's why we're building off of it. You see, the Nag Hammadi scriptures were left out of the Bible because it tells the story of a bad God and a good God. And they like to frame it as in a way of the world is evil and spiritualism is good. And isn't that funny? Because that's what everyone thinks Christianity is. So they excluded those books out of the Bible because they said materialism is bad. Isn't that Buddhism already? You know, they meditate all day to avoid life itself, to stay in this like spiritual realm. Then everyone judges everything they do. They self-loathe their lives over thinking that they're supposed to be these meek, humble people. And of course they got all that wrong. And it's all based on God's going to be mad at me if I have stuff, but that doesn't make sense. I never thought about any of this. None of it makes sense, but I'm supposed to follow these rules that I don't even understand what the rules are. And look at the misconception. This video right here, like I was saying, you'll be able to find like Gnostic sets of people that were narcissists or just didn't get any of this at all. And it would be so normal for everybody to think that it's two gods or materialism versus spirituality. These two things have been woven in together. You know, the bad God, if you go into Gnosticism, you're going to just naturally think, oh, the evil God of the Old Testament and then the good God. And that's why the Gnostic scriptures were kept out. But look, this is a mystery. This is a riddle. Most people have never been figured out. They've never been able to figure it out. Churches of people, sects of people. For us to find this video and to learn this, you know what a big deal it is in the videos where I tell you the Demiurge isn't anything. We look for it, we can't find it. It's a ghost, because it was everyone and everything that made up the God of this world through our ignorance to God. And if you've been keeping up, and there's not much to keep up with. I've only made one recent video of the Gospel of Truth. The Gospel of Truth is sitting there talking about how all the problems are because we're born into ignorance, and it's ignorance of the Father. The ignorance of the Father is what manifestates the Demiurge. And I did say manifestates.
Peace be with you, and peace be upon your house.
I know. Isn't this dude fucking awesome right here? Don't we all wish I could be more like this dude? I'm the fire and brimstone sword of Jesus Christ. I also wish I could be more like this dude, but it's his job to be like him. And then I'm the wrath, the brimstone, the fire, the sword, the destroyer. The destroyer of kingdoms, the destroyer of egos, the destroyer of identities. And you're going to be reborn in Jesus Christ.
I want to talk about the Demiurge, the half-maker in Gnosticism. And the meaning of the Demiurge as understood amidst Sophian Gnostics. In Neo-Gnosticism, modern Gnosticism.
See, and I'm going to play this video. I'm going to sit back and smoke some weed. Maybe you didn't know why I was linking this video over the years, because you learn from me and I clear this stuff up for you like at day one. But everything that he's saying is like what has completely baffled you. It's one of those things where you wouldn't even know that you're wrong. You would just go on assuming the bad God is the God of the Old Testament and there's the good God. How could you ever think anything else? How could you ever even know that that's a riddle to solve?
In Neo-Gnosticism, modern Gnosticism, there are many false conceptions concerning the Demiurge, as though the Demiurge is a second God, or the God of darkness, God of the world, versus the true God, the God of the true light. But if we examine esoteric gospels, if we examine Gnostic scripture, it really is not quite so simple, or so linear, or necessarily so dualistic. The Demiurge, in fact, is a personification of ignorance. Cosmic or universal ignorance, primordial ignorance. There's a very different understanding of Demiurge amidst Gnostics than many things that are said. We may look into the esoteric gospel, the Gnostic gospel, Pista Sophia, and contemplate the term for the Demiurge. Self-willed triple power, Yaldabaoth. Self-willed triple power. What is the triple power? The triple power is self-cherishing, self-grasping, and is desire and fear, attachment and aversion, which is the cause of all sorrow and suffering, which is the cause of all evil, which is the cause of material incarnation, again and again. This is Demiurge, personification of ignorance. How does this come into being? From God, the true light. It is a byproduct of creation, arising from an unconscious primordial unity. Souls, sentient beings, are unaware of the unity. This primordial unconscious unity, this is primordial ignorance, to which if one gazes, they cannot find a beginning. In the arising of creation, the countless beings, countless spiritual forces, unaware of this unity, arising in an illusion of separation and dualism.
Wouldn't a comical example of that be how everybody goes walking around being the agnostic, going, I don't know what to believe in, and it's just funny that they use the word believe. I'm not going to believe in anything until somebody gives it to me. No different than the Epstein file thing. You have to give it to me. I'm mad. For some reason, they approach this. They might not even be mad or anything, but they approach it like somebody stole something from them. And I'm not going to believe in God until you provide me the evidence. You have to give me. I demand it from you. I'm the agnostic. I do nothing, but you have to give me. And then you say, well, just the fact that you exist is all the proof of God that you ever needed. All the fact that everyone exists, the fact that your body is animated, the fact that you think, just the fact that it's like they think God is a man. So, isn't that one of the most brilliant displays of ignorance? All the human beings walking around going, they all do it, all of them. It's their mantra. I don't know if God exists or not or whatever, and then just stupid people just decide to believe or whatever. But then there was an answer to your question. Just the fact that you exist was the proof. It was the smoking gun.
Unaware of this unity arising in an
It's
illusion.
planet Earth is where all the beings are arising, not aware of the unity. Just like in Alan Watts' video, or basic Buddhism is like, you were born on planet Earth. You're part of planet Earth. You're part of everyone and everything. You're not separate from the universe itself. You live inside of it, and you are part of it and a product of it.
The countless beings, countless spiritual forces, unaware of this unity arising in an illusion of separation and dualism, experience self-grasping and self-will and attachment and aversion, believing what's arising separate from themselves, unaware that it is a radiant display of their own energy and their source, and unaware of their source, God the true light. And it is in this that the world comes into being from the Demiurge, from ignorance. And self-cherishing, self-will, desire and fear in us, attachment and aversion in us, gives rise to our experience, our sorrow and suffering. Gives rise to the world, our experience. And this way, the Demiurge creates the world.
The Demiurge creates the world. The Demiurge is the god of this world. Everyone's just like him. In our revolver clip, you could only get it from this Gnostic scriptures. In our revolver clip, when he goes, it's Mr. Gold's world. He owns the whole entire thing. It's a whole game, Jake. Everyone's in the game, but nobody knows that they're in the game. They're Jake.
Experience, our sorrow and suffering. Gives rise to the world, our experience. And this way, the Demiurge creates the world. This becomes interesting, though, because if we look into it, the Demiurge is really nothing. This self-grasping, this attachment and aversion is really nothing, but it becomes real to us.
So you know what you really start to understand about that God of the Old Testament? It was the ego of all people. That's why it's such a wicked tyrant that is like it is and acts like a person. Because it was the egos of all human beings is the God of the Old Testament.
Nothing. This self-grasping, this attachment and aversion is really nothing, but it becomes real to us. creation of the world as we know it, in an illusion of separation. And this is Demiurge.
And Jesus Christ is the one that's awake to this, that teaches everybody to be awake through gnosis, through his teachings, and provides a path, as he's the lucid dreamer in this dream. Everybody else reading their scripts, Louis Rosman really thinking he's on to something, but he's just reading the script from the movie Her. Everywhere you look, everyone thinks they're on to something, but they're really just repeating one script or another.
Christian Gnostic, this begins to give insight into the coming of Messiah, into the coming of Christ. One who is not subject to this ignorance, this illusion of separation. One who is not asleep and dreaming and believing the dream separate and apart from the real, but rather who is a lucid dreamer, who shows a path of awakening, who shows a path of overcoming Demiurge, ignorance, by way of gnosis.
Are looking at our skeleton closet, our narcissistic traits that we thought that wasn't us. It's all truly devastating. It's the fires. It's being thrown in the fire. But how about when you very first started to learn that you're absolutely the opposite of who you think you are? You're not anymore. But remember how, and what a relief it was, because that was the ultimate of hiding your shadow closet from yourself.
Shows a path of awakening, who shows a path of overcoming Demiurge, ignorance, by way of gnosis, or in Christian Kabbalah, Chabad, wisdom, understanding, knowledge, and awakening of the soul, in which the soul begins to remember.
And how could you ever awake yourself to yourself when you are yourself? When things like, if I make a lot of progress in whatever that means, I learn a bunch of stuff and it changes me. I don't even notice unless somebody tells me. You know, I teach you a bunch of stuff. You don't realize that you've become completely different. You used to be the opposite of who, that's the funny thing, is you used to be the opposite of who you believed you are, and you're probably not anymore, and you think that you are. And it would be me that would have to show you that no, you used to be the opposite, but you're not anymore.
Wisdom, understanding, knowledge, and awakening of the
So
soul.
this awakening of the soul is the gnosis, because we've only learned from the world. Well, the world has normalized narcissism. We wouldn't know anything different if it wasn't for Jesus Christ. If it wasn't for Jesus Christ's teachings, we wouldn't even know that there's a different way of life. But then the teachings of Jesus Christ replace the world used to be your teacher, because you didn't have any other teacher. You didn't know that there was one. You didn't know how it worked, how to apply it.
Who shows a path of overcoming Demiurge, ignorance, by way of gnosis, or in Christian Kabbalah, Chabad, wisdom, understanding, knowledge, and awakening of the soul, in which the soul begins to remember its original unity, its innate unity with the source of its being, with God, the true life.
You know how that is with you every single moment of the day? that you remember where you originally came from, that's with you all. When you discover it, you should always have felt it, known it. But when you embrace it, you're now knowing your true self, and you identify with that. And it really helps in the real hard times of life, because you realize that it's a friend. You realize that you, who you really are, where you really come from, is a friend of yours, that is a comforter of yours.
In which the soul begins to remember its original unity, its innate unity with the source of its being, with God, the true life.
What does that entail? Is it the Michael Jackson video? Is it Billie Jean and he's dancing on the black and white? You know, the sidewalk lights up. It's the Masonic, checkerboard. And then the whole entire thing, I'm pretty sure it's the Billie Jean. I say it wrong just about every time. Maybe it's Billie Jean. And the goal at the end is to go upstairs into the second floor, and you walk on the checkerboard to go up the stairs, the stairway, to go to the higher second floor. And what does it entail to do those things? Because you cannot enter that second floor in the Billie Jean where Michael Jackson gets it on. Oh, Michael Jackson fucking the shit out of Billie Jean on the second floor. But you can't have a shred of ego to go into that God's chamber right there. Like, the goal of goals would be able to go down the street, dance on that motherfucking checkerboard and shit, like Michael Jackson's teaching us how to navigate that fucking checkerboard to make it to the stairs, to go up the... I think Buddhists try this shit. I think Buddhists meditate all day long trying to achieve this. I think that's the only reason that they're meditating, is trying to achieve this right here. So this is not to be taken lightly.
It's to remember.
This isn't just something that you say in passing. You know how upset I would be if somebody said this to me as like, oh yeah, I just nonchalantly went up to the second floor. Oh yeah. Oh, I just decided that I just decided that I knew how to dance on the checkerboard. I just decided I knew my way to the stairs. I just decided I knew how to go up the stairs. I just decided myself that I knew how to go through the door, and I didn't have to do anything to do that. It was so whimsical. You know how mad I would be? You know how fucking mad.
In which the soul begins to remember its original unity, its innate unity with the source of its being, with God, the true life. This is the path of Gnosticism, overcoming the ignorance, recognizing the cause of our sorrow and suffering as self-grasping, attachment, aversion, and releasing it.
You know where? In the video where I'm expressing this, and literally expressing it. It's something that I learned from punk rock. It's something I learned from being a musician. It's something I learned from a California code. It's something that I learned from Henry Rollins. It's something that I learned from Nine Inch Nails. And in that recent video with White Sea Studios, I do something that would almost be impossible for anybody to do. You should find it as astounding. You should find it as like, whoa, that's different. Whoa, that's another way to go. I didn't know you could do that. Simply, I took all the riches. I took everything. I took everything everybody aspires to have, and I took everything everybody aspires to be. And you would assume that there's no other way to do it. And I said, my empire of dirt. You can't see. Do you understand what it takes to wholeheartedly understand what that means and to do that? Done it many times in my life. You know what a big deal it is when I go to these YouTubers when we're making a video and I go, oh, you really think that your YouTube videos are your fucking preciouses, don't you? You think that they should be around forever. And you think that they're somehow creative and artistic. And those are your babies, your preciouses. And I take everybody's things that they would think is like their precious, just all of it. Just all of it. And you would never see anybody ever go the way of going, my empire of dirt. You can have, you know how much empire of dirt I've given away, and I intend on always giving away and not participating. And everybody will be like crabs in a bucket in the drowning pool, all trying to get that precious, whatever it is. Whatever it is, it's this attachment. It is all of this made Buddhism because we find at the core of the core of Buddhism, the whole thing was about how people believe they have control over things. And it takes so many years and so much meditation to actually learn how much control you don't have. And to really grasp it is to live it. And to live it is to be able to look at everything, all the things you aspire to be, all of it, and to go, my empire of dirt, you can have it all.
Recognizing the cause of our sorrow and suffering.
The attachment and aversion.
This is the path of Gnosticism, overcoming the ignorance.
Oh, I've been talking so long. Let's go back a little bit more. Talking about Jesus Christ here.
Understanding, knowledge, and awakening of the soul, in which the soul begins to remember its original unity, its innate unity with the source of its being.
You know? And that's when we come under the real law. That when you recognize wholeheartedly, you get it. You get it. It's like you can't lie about it. That's where Jesus Christ talks about that the old law is, Jesus Christ comes to defeat the old law, the law of duality, and replace it with the law of God. And the moment that you realize this, you become under the law of God, and it had nothing to do with following phony rules made up for you out of the scriptures.
Its original unity, its innate unity with the source of its being. With God, the true light. This is the path of Gnosticism, overcoming the ignorance. Recognizing the cause of our sorrow and suffering as self-grasping, attachment, aversion, and releasing it. in terms of Demiurge, not a second God, but certainly a cosmic principle that we all know very well. We all know this ignorance. We all know this experience of dualism in consciousness, an illusion of separation, in which we feel so distant from the source of our being, so distant from God, so that many of us don't even believe in God or don't even believe in enlightenment, but think we all go into oblivion. That is very sad. But there is a path of awakening the soul that's in us.
Yep, this path of awakening the soul within us. We used to just watch movies, but now we watch reflections of ourselves that we learn from, that we're surprised from at the moral at the end of the story, that wow, I thought it was the other way around. And all of life becomes self-reflection, where we learn about ourselves. There is a path of awakening. It's called life itself and being aware of it.
Of awakening the soul that's in us, the greater intelligence that's in us.
The greater intelligence that's within us. Back to our revolver clip, where the psychiatrist says the ego, it just can't. It just has the hardest time. It just can't do it. It can't figure out that there's a higher way of discerning truth than itself.
Of awakening the soul that's in us, the greater intelligence that's in us, through which we truly can exit and transcend this ignorance, the sorrow and suffering, in which it can be brought to cessation. And this, in truth, is what Gnosticism is. A path to this awakening, this enlightenment. If we ask the nature of this path, it is really simple. It's learning to go within and live within, and to go deeper still. It's a path of prayer and meditation, opening to the light from above, opening to direct spiritual and mystical experience, opening to a remembrance of other aspects of our soul or being that very much transcend here, and that aren't caught up in this ignorance, not at all. And this way, we might contemplate what is spoken in the gospel, that to enter the kingdom of heaven, enlightenment, we must be born from above. We must remember an original and innate unity, an original, innate, enlightened nature that is the true foundation of our being. This, in fact, is the purpose of the coming of the Messiah, that we might remember, that we might awaken and experience this transcendence.
So much
It's
love.
time to ask more of our
that's
browser.
loud. So much love to everyone. If you're learning for real at the Mystery School, please donate. Really appreciate your donations. I hope this serves you greatly. Much love.